The Hollywood Knickerbocker Hotel is a famous hotel located at 1714 Ivar Avenue, just northwest of the intersection of Hollywood and Vine. Rising 11 stories, its Spanish colonial-style construction was completed in 1929. It had its own nightclub, the Lido Room. The slogan for the hotel was, "Your home for a year or a day," as the hotel offered long-term tenancy. Paul R. Williams, the famed architect, renovated the hotel in 1936 and again in 1956. The fire escape, visible in this 1938 photograph, was removed in one of these later renovations. In 1970, the hotel was again renovated and converted into housing for senior citizens, offering studio and one-bedroom units. With this change came a new name, the Hollywood Knickerbocker Apartments, which it retains today. But let's go back to the luminaries and stories of those who crossed the threshold of the Knickerbocker. Before he died, the great magician Harry Houdini told his wife, Bess, that if he died and there was an afterlife, he would come back to her to prove it. Houdini died on Halloween 1926. For 10 years, Bess had been holding a seance every Halloween, waiting for Harry to give her a sign. The last seance, conducted on the roof of the Knickerbocker in 1936, was a media sensation. Frances Farmer started acting in Seattle stage productions while attending the University of Washington. After graduating, she worked in stock theater before signing a contract with Paramount Pictures at the age of 22. In the Howard Hawks directed film Come and Get It, Hawks called her the greatest actor he had ever worked with. But her battle with depression and drinking became apparent by her mid-20s. Her behavior more erratic and confrontational. On January the 13th, 1943, she was staying at the Knickerbocker Hotel, where she was arrested for violating her parole for a drunk driving sentence imposed 2 months earlier. Police had a warrant for unpaid drunk driving fines and failing to keep an appointment with her parole officer, and were forced to gain entry to her room with a pass key, and found her nude, drunk, and combative. She refused to cooperate with the arresting officers and was forcibly removed from the hotel, kicking and screaming. Just a week prior to this incident at the Knickerbocker, she allegedly struck a studio hairdresser while she was dressing the actress's hair at a movie studio. This is a photo of Farmer being restrained during a court hearing in 1943. Frances Farmer ended up being involuntarily institutionalized for several years. Most of these years were spent at Western State Hospital, just south of Tacoma, Washington. She was released from this facility in 1950. 20 years later, in 1970, Frances Farmer passed away from cancer. In 1982, the film Frances debuted, starring Jessica Lange. But many of the facts about the movie are fabricated, including the portrayal of a lobotomy performed on Frances Farmer. D.W. Griffith was a controversial yet pioneering American film director. He is considered one of the most influential figures in the history of motion pictures, and was in large part responsible for the birth of Hollywood. Together with Mary Pickford Douglas Fairbanks, and Charlie Chaplin, Griffith founded the studio United Artists in 1919. He was also a long-term resident of the Knickerbocker Hotel when on July the 23rd, 1948, he suffered a massive stroke in his room. Some sources say that he died in the hotel lobby, but newspaper articles mention his passing en route to a hospital. He was 73. Elvis Presley was a guest at the Knickerbocker in 1956 when producer Hal Wallace brought him to Hollywood to star in the film Love Me Tender, Elvis Presley's film debut. His co-star was Debra Paget. She is now 90 years old, the only star of this film who survives. Irene Lin, also known mononymously and professionally as Irene, was an American actress turned fashion and costume designer. She was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for Best Costume Design. Irene created gowns for Ginger Rogers, Hedy Lamarr, Ingrid Bergman, Carole Lombard, Doris Day, among others. Here is Lana Turner in an Irene creation seen in The Postman Always Rings Twice from 1946. Fashion and costume designers Adrian, Edith Head, and Irene were 3 of the most esteemed colleagues during the golden years of the big screen. In 1936, Irene married Elliot Gibbons, a writer, whose brother was Cedric Gibbons, shown here, who was the famed art director who went on to become the head of the art department for MGM Studios. Irene became the head costume designer at MGM. But by 1962, depression gripped the 61-year-old Irene. She had financial difficulties. She had expressed to Doris Day that she had been in love with the actor Gary Cooper, who had died the year prior, even though she was married to Elliot Gibbons, who himself had recently had a stroke. On November the 15th, 1962, Irene checked into room 1129 at the Knickerbocker, where she drank heavily and proceeded to jump out her 11th-story window to her demise. William Frawley was an actor most famous for co-starring in the I Love Lucy comedy series that ran from 1951 to 1957. He lived for nearly 30 years in a suite at the Knickerbocker. He moved to the nearby El Royale Apartments in late 1965. On March the 3rd, 1966, Frawley was at a movie theater in Hollywood watching Inside Daisy Clover, starring Robert Redford and Natalie Wood. As he was walking home along Hollywood Boulevard, he suffered a massive heart attack just a half block from the Knickerbocker. His nurse was able to get Frawley to the front steps of the Knickerbocker. He was then taken to a hospital emergency room and pronounced deceased. A question that often comes up regarding William Frawley is whether he and Vivian Vance disliked each other. They did. There's a link in the description if you'd like the story. Many other celebrities frequented the Knickerbocker, including Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio. They often met at the hotel bar and are believed to have celebrated their honeymoon at the Knickerbocker. Other celebrities that frequented the hotel were Frank Sinatra, Lana Turner, Mae West, and Cecil B. DeMille, among many others. This video is taken from the same vantage point as the prior photo. You can see the Knickerbocker in the upper left-hand corner. Hello everyone. It's November the 16th, 2023, and I'm here on Ivar Avenue, about 2 blocks up from the Knickerbocker. And on Ivar here, you can actually park for free. The only exception is Mondays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I guess they have street cleaning. But otherwise, it's free parking, just 2 blocks from Hollywood and Vine. The sign above the Knickerbocker was placed there in 1931, 2 years after the building was completed. And that same sign is in use today. This is the parking area for the Knickerbocker right here. I'm at the front of the building right now. Looks like they have a little library here on the ground floor. I'm on the top floor now. Very nice architecture. It looks like the rooms have independent air conditioning for each one. There are fire sprinklers installed here. This is the door to a room 1129. Unless that number has been changed, this is the room that Irene was in the day she passed away in 1962. The Amore Banquet Hall was in operation here at the Knickerbocker starting in 1998, and it was in business for about 20 years, but it is no longer at this location. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And we'll see you next time.